I devised a way to set up repeated mapping between data tables in Google Sheets. And you can do this without having to buy any credits. It's completely free and unlimited. And once you set up your mapping processes, you only have to set them up one time. And at the click of a button, you can map data from one table to another, create new tables, whatever you need to do repeatedly, and it will be all at the click of a button. And you can take this template, and it has code included, and you can add it to any Google Sheet that you're using. So what I'm going to do first of all is show you how to use it so that it all makes a lot more sense. So to start off, let's say you have this table. You have a table of clients. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns: first name, last name, city, state, zip, and the amount that is owed by each client. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is set up a process where I'm going to copy the first name, the last name, and the zip code only those. In fact, yes, I'll do that. In fact, instead, we'll do the first name, last name, and the amount owed, and we will copy that onto a new sheet. So what I'll do here is I'll change the name of this sheet to amounts owed. And on this sheet, again, I'm going to create a sheet of first name, last name, and amount owed by each client. So the first thing is to set up the map for this process. So the first thing is the map ID, because I can set up multiple maps here. So I have to give this map ID a name. This is going to be clients, let's say, to amounts, right? I can just call it that, clients to amounts, right? Something simple. Now, the first thing I have to specify is the source sheet. What is the sheet that I'm actually copying from? And that sheet is the client sheet. So that's the source sheet's name, client sheet. And by the way, what I'm going to do is I have to set up the map column by column. So, but first of all, the source sheet, and then the source head and row. So the source head and row is the row number, row 1, which is usually what it will be, but could be different. So you do have to tell it, specify. Source column heading is the actual name. So it knows what it's actually looking for. That's going to be F name. You have to literally use the same column name as the column. And I will just paste that in here. Paste special values only. Destination sheet. Now it's for the destination sheet. So first of all, from the client sheet, I'm copying the F name column. And then I'm going to be copying that to the destination sheet, which is this name, amounts owed, right? And I can just retype that over here. So the destination sheet is amounts owed. And the head and row on that sheet is going to be row 1 as well. Now, there are 3 different actions that this can do. It can create, overwrite, or append. So in this case, I'm creating a new table. There's not a pre-existing table, so I have to use the create option. Now, the column heading, the destination column heading, is going to be the new name that I want for the column on this new table. So the original name is F name, and let's say I want to make the destination name different. Let's just say, and let's say I want it to be first name, and then I have to specify the column because it's a new table, so I don't know where the column should go, so I have to specify that I want it to go to column A, to letter A, and so that's where it goes. You don't need this unique identifier column, so that's it. That's one column. So now a lot of this just repeats, right? So for the next column, it's the same map. We're doing the same mapping process. So same client ID, same source sheet, same head and row, right? Just the column is changing, right? Now it's L name, but the rest of that is the same. Same destination sheet, same head and row, Same process, creating again, but just now it's last name. So now I'll put last name, and that's column letter B. Right? Same thing again. In fact, I mean, knowing that these would be the same, I could have just copied these three down because just the column headings are changing, right? So it's F name, L name, and now we need to go back and look. Okay, so an amount owed, right? I'm going to just copy this with my keyboard, copy, and just paste it over here, Control-Shift-V, so I don't affect the format in here. So that's amount owed. The destination sheet is also called, well, amounts owed. Destination header rows 1 again. Again, I'm creating. And here, let's say I just want amount. Right? Because I know that it's an amounts owed table. So I don't really need to say amounts owed on that data table. Just amount is enough. Right? And the column letter C, because I want it in that order, A, B, C. So that is the map. Right? That's it. So now we have the target. Okay, so now we want to run the map. And so to run the map, first of all, we have to tell it the map that we're running. Keep in mind that I have only set up one map here, but that you can set up many, many, many more maps in here. This is not just for one map process. Keep in mind. So when I devised this for myself originally on an e-commerce system I had many different maps, right? Here it's just one map, which is the clients to amounts that we're running right now, and we're just selecting clients to amounts. And for the last map row, okay, so I've got to explain all this stuff, right? The last map row completed, and this is the row number, and just put 5, that is here, right? So in other words, it hasn't done anything yet. Just start at the top. Just go ahead and start. And then this is like how low it should go. And the reason why this stuff is here, again, is because you can set up so many maps here. And you may not always want to actually run through all of them. So you can kind of tell it, hey, stop when you get here. I don't want to, you might have all these maps saved, but not really want to use all of them. So that's why you have to specify this stuff. So I'll go ahead and put 8 here, knowing that the last row is 8. But that's, just something that has to be there. So, okay, so the last map row that was completed was row 5, really, because we haven't done one yet. And the maximum, the lowest we'll let it go right now is 8, right? If you put a lower number than that, I guess that's fine. Anyway, now to run it, this map sheets button will go ahead and start executing the maps that are here. So when now before I press it, I just want to refresh clients table, F name, L name, amount owed. And we expect a new table, first name, last name, amount. That's what we expect to see. Let's see what happens. So here's map. Okay, cannot read properties. Okay. So I did have one mistake here, which is that the source sheet, for the source sheet I had client, but it should be clients. Okay, so client. So make sure that you have the exact right name with sheets of your sheet names. Okay, so it should be clients, clients, clients. I had client instead. So now that my map is set up, I will go ahead and click on the map sheets button. And the first time that I run it, it will ask for authorization to run the script. I wrote the code. I put the code right here on my own Google Sheet, but I still have to authorize it to run even on my own account. And I'm pointing that out so that when you try to do this on your account, you're not surprised by that, right? So you click on OK. You click on the name of your account and continue. In this case, authorization is successful. I'm authorizing the script to run. You can see the code. Just go to extensions Apps Script. You'll be able to see the code that you're running. I just realized that I totally ignored these settings, which is the max sheet columns and the max sheet rows. So what happens is that you have to tell it the maximum number of sheet rows it expects. This is because it doesn't really know where the bottom is, and so this, is to tell it how far down it needs to look on the sheet. 20,000 is way too much, right? I don't have 20,000 clients. These are not real clients. These are artificially generated. But, if I'm not going to have 20,000 clients, there's no way I'm going to need 20,000 for it to check 20,000 rows. So I'm going to cancel the process. This should have been much smaller of a number. If I know I'm not going to have more than a certain number of rows, I should have put like 100. And I know that I'm not going to have more than a certain number of columns. Let's say it's just 10, right? That's the maximum. Then there's no point in slowing it down and having it look through all these columns and rows. So now I will just go ahead again. Sorry, I'll have to repeat the process again. And click on map sheets again. Clients to amounts, the only map I have. And this time we see that it completes the mapping process much faster. First name, last name, and amount, because I told it, hey, I'm only going to do up to 10 columns and I'm only doing up to 100 rows. So it does not look any further for data any further than that. So that is it. That's the process. You see first, last name, and amount populate over here. And, formatting is another story. You have to have that ready to go over here and set up. But the data itself gets copied, right? So again, looking at the client sheet, just take a quick look at the names and the last names and the amounts that were owed, right? And then look at amounts owed over here, and you can see it, right? So that's basically the process, and that's creating a new sheet, appending it. So you saw that you can create a new table using a source table that is on a different sheet, and using this, you can do that process, and you can do this repeatedly at the click of a button. So when you're ready to do that again, you can click map sheets again, and it will do the same process again, creating this new table with the first name, last name, and the amount that is owed by each client, right? And so you see the benefit of being able to do that. There's a lot more I can get into with, like, putting it on a trigger if it needed to be done, like on a regular basis, going into the Apps Script editor and setting up a trigger. There are more things that can happen with this, right, that I can always get into in other videos. But basically, if you can use this, go ahead and find a link in the description of this video. I do want you to understand that this is like, it's a work in progress. So I know that the create function works right now, as I just demonstrated, but it's possible that perhaps the append needs to be fixed or something, but I know the create works, the overwrite should work, but just keep that in mind. So, and this is an open source kind of thing. It's not something where I've made it and keep it closed and no one else can see how it's done. No, the code is there. You can go and see the code for yourself and modify it if you're a coder. Maybe you can even improve it. So just look in the description of the video for a link where you can basically download this. You then will take the sheet. What you'll do is if you have another Google Sheet where you want to use this, you will simply take this whole sheet and just copy it, right? You can go like this, right click, copy this whole sheet, right, and paste it into another Google Sheet. I believe you'll have to keep this name the same in the new Google Sheet. You'll have to make sure the name is map sheets, because the macro is looking for that name. So, but you can copy and paste this whole thing, and then you'll go into extensions and Apps Script, where all the code is for this thing. And you'll have to take all this code and copy it over as well. I do have a Mark Teach Tools. I call it the Apps Script Toolkit. It's a library of functions. And right now, the way this is, you do see that there's a library here, which means that if I keep it this way, I believe you would have to add that script ID as well. But I don't think you'll have to do that, because what I'll most likely do for distribution is I'll probably just take the functions that are used. There are only a few of them that I used from this library, and they're like functions for arrays and things like that. I'll probably just take them and copy them in here to the code, so you probably won't even have to do that. So basically, you should be able to just take the code that's in here, all of this code, and just copy and paste it. Control A. You should be able to select all the code that's in here, copy it and paste that over to another Google Sheet, and then everything should work just the way that it works here. I just copied this from my original system, which was an e-commerce system that I used to run an eBay store. And so you should be able to do that as well. Okay, so again, you copy this whole page, this sheet, you put it into another Google Sheet that you're planning to use it with. Make sure to name App Sheets. When you come to extensions App Script, you copy all this code, you put it in there in the extensions App Script on the other Google Sheet. And for every Google Sheet where you want to use this, that's what you would have to do, and then you should be able to use this process on any Google Sheet that you want. So that's it. Maybe I'll have another video where I demonstrate that process. And that's about it. I'm Mr. Mark. This is Mark Teach Tech. Like and subscribe if you want to get notifications on new content. See the description for more information, and I'll see you around in another video.